Lentini, we got our first set of the day in Wave B2. It is, of course, a Roy Ditto to start the day of all things. We've got Lancelot facing off against, I believe that is, yes, Aness from France.
What a great way to start it out. The Roy Ditto. Really the pinnacle of 2024 Ultimate here. We got some weird characters, but at the end of the day, there's still those rushdown players going full aggro.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, what a way to start off the set immediately. Oh my, Lancelot just showing his prowess with this character, his mastery with Roy to begin with, just immediately taking that stock, not slowing down in the slightest.
Yeah, we heard about the way of the water. This is the way of the fire out here. Lancelot showing us maybe he's the better Roy, but you know, starting to get on the board here. That is kind of the matchup. You blow each other up pretty hard.
That's the thing, though. So, like, genuinely, both characters kind of just are able to overwhelm the other. Like, it is whoever just gets into that ridiculous advantage state. Like, right there, we saw, obviously, Aness just finding that one moment just to get that side B going. And in a literal moment, a flip of a switch, it can swing from being a Lancelot flavor all the way to Aness. Like, already starting to get something going here. Landing it up to into the up air, forward into that neutral as well. Just get all this damage going.
That falling up air was so late. I thought for sure he was going for a tomahawk. Clearly, Lancelot thought the same thing because he got hit by it. You're going to take a clean 50 for your trouble, but that up smash, I don't know about that spacing. You got to be careful.
Yeah, I've got to be careful because, I mean, as we're sort of talking about, like, these characters can just blow each other up. If you make sort of one mistake, that can cost you. And just like that, Lentini, we're already seeing, like, what was such a huge lead for Lancelot from the beginning has suddenly turned around to a very, very even game one.
Yeah, Aness showing us that, you know, this matchup, it can be a bit finicky, but again, finding those openings like you talked about, not able to get the ledge trap, but still holding center stage pretty well. And look how far just that little bit of stage control goes. Being patient, waiting for the right moment.
Actually, that, I mean, suddenly Aness just taking control, still getting out of, I love just the one hit, the neutral air as well, just to continue the combo as a little bit longer. Aness is really just showing his control with this character as well. It was looking so good for Lancelot, but suddenly everything's swinging around, and now Lancelot has just got to try and find a stock, which he does finally with that up there.
59%, you know, in some matchups that feel like a lot, but here, that's like half a combo, and Lancelot proving me right. Oh my goodness. Oh no!
I feel like this is a sort of set that we're not going to have any time to breathe. I genuinely swear, like, this is just going back and forth so constantly. Again, like, I was starting to think, like, oh hang on, is Lancelot going to lose this? Like, he was looking really in control from the beginning, but then Aness swings it around, and then Lancelot takes back control, so who knows? It's only the last stock that matters at this point.
Yeah, you really don't know what you're going to get. That's the excitement of it, right? You work so hard, you get your neutral spacing, you find that tiny little opening to get your strong hitbox, and then Lancelot just comes in, hits you with the 0 to death, and then on the final stock does the same thing again.
It's absolutely ridiculous, but we'll have to see what Aness can do here. Obviously, was initially getting overwhelmed, but certainly showed that he can more than take this set away from Lancelot. Of course, this is a top 64 qualifier as well, so this is a big set for both players here. They want to make it through to that day 2. They don't want to be dropping here, especially someone of Lancelot's caliber. He knows he can make this run.
Yeah, that's that all-important day 2. Something about you get the fresh night of sleep, you get to come in feeling baller, like, yeah, I earned my way here. Everybody's got to hold that when they're on the friendly setup, and I need to warm up. But unfortunately, only one of these guys is going to be able to win this set. I assume this is winner's side, right?
I believe so, yeah. I would be very, very surprised if it was not. So we're gonna just go ahead and say it's winner's side. We'll find out later if it is or isn't. But either way, we're loving, like, how, again, just both players kind of just dancing around a little bit. You can see that Lancelot is beginning to take sort of, like, a more sort of safe kind of, like, game plan here. He doesn't want to take those risks anymore because he knows how quickly, like, it can change around. And it's just kind of just keeping up that stage control, but constantly just weaving back and forth, Lentini.
Not quite enough on that grab, but I like the idea. Maybe a couple more pummels. Finally, a stock goes off a minute 20 into this match, which in this matchup is years of gameplay.
Oh, I thought that was going to be a stock. I thought literally as you were saying it, I was like, wait, that is actually just going to be a stock away. They're literally trading back and forth. But Aness is still, unfortunately, not going to take Lancelot's stock here. Just Lancelot hanging on by a thread, but literally any kind of up air or forward or something like that will probably just take the stock away. But Lancelot is really starting to run away with this one now.
He keeps finding these little openings. Look, it's not that mad damage that we saw in the first game, but like you said, it's adding up, and he's starting to run away with it, and there's finally the side B to even up the stocks.
Literally just exploding that stock away, and that's finally taking it away. Does have a chance to get back into it, but Lancelot is literally just all over Aness here, giving him zero time to even think about his movement or where he wants to be, because Lancelot is just so good at weaving that back and forth, retreating when he needs to. Even though he plays such a rush-down character who's so fast and so powerful, he knows how to play safe with him.
One thing I'm seeing from Aness is that willingness to go into shield more and more. Both of these players, honestly, have started to make that pivot, recognizing, well, wait a minute, my opponent, if they grab me, realistically, until I'm at like 170, they're not going to get much off of it. So you start to skew your RPS of options in that direction, make it a little bit harder to get those big hits, because as you can see from the double forward smash attempts, that is what this character thrives on.
I love how Ness was literally like, you know what, hey, wait, he did it. I can do it too.
Anything
missed.
you can do,
Both
I can
missed.
do slightly worse space.
Okay, so Aness finally does take that stock away, bring us down to the final stock of this game 2. It's still a huge opportunity for Aness to get back into this, but he's got to try and get back in, because unfortunately Lancelot will never miss those forward tilts. He will always rush you down. He will always get in there and take that game away, going 2-0 up here.
Yeah, continuing to show that consistency. That's the thing with Roy. It's easy to look at this character and be like, oh, well, he got his big hit. Of course, that's going to happen every once in a while. But Lancelot is finding ways to get those over and over and over. 2-0 to deaths in the first game. And now we see the same thing here. It may not be 0 to deaths anymore, but continuing to push and push in that advantage state and convert those early stocks.
And I think as well, like, the thing I'm liking the most from Lancelot here is that, again, like, compared to game 1, it felt like he was just sort of dancing a little bit more around that shield from Aness. Like, he was playing a lot safer, as we talked about before, and it really was paying dividends, because he's just now focusing a lot on his neutral and his advantage state, and it is just playing off so well here. But of course, you know, credit where credit due. Aness is still keeping up in this game 3 here, still certainly not out of it yet, and both players just trading hits back and forth, quite literally.
Yeah, and I think a big part of that keeping up that you're talking about, it isn't just the percentages. Part of how you get there is, can you match the tempo, the aggression, the mix-up timing? And that's where Aness is managing to just barely keep up, but Lancelot has a minute advantage there in that little game of will they, won't they?
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, couldn't have said it better myself. So, of course, Lancelot does take away Aness's stock here, but, of course, Aness just trying to find a way through. But Lancelot is just so good at finding any kind of conversion of any sort of hit. You saw those falling up airs there, which immediately just converted into another one. And he's just going to keep that back four. But a risky up B there from Lancelot is going to cost him heavily, as Aness is able to tear the stock away.
That's so tough. You get that parry and you just mash up B, hoping that it's going to work out. But sometimes, if you space those aerials just right, especially with things like Roy's falling up air, it is just so safe that even on parry, you can't punish it. And that's going to be the stock. Okay, Aness coming back into this.
Okay, Aness suddenly taking the lead here. But for how much longer can you make it back? You can't, unfortunately. Sadly, with Roy's recovery, I mean, it's got armor and it's pretty strong out of shield, but it's not the best for actually getting back to the stage, and it is going to cost Aness. And suddenly, this game has gone right back to being even here. Of course, we'll have to see what Aness can do if he can keep up and take this all-important third game away.
You have to be so careful on either side of this. You recognize how quickly you can get blown up. Those mix-ups, it's game 3. Aness has to burn whatever's in the tank. Meanwhile, Lancelot has the opportunity to take advantage of whatever conditioning to close this out in 3. But the question remains, who's going to get that perfectly spaced side B, that F tilt, that dash attack, and close out the stock?
This is literally the moment here for Aness. He does land a side B. No, sorry, that was Lancelot lands a side B. Aness is able to make it back, though. This is so important for both players here. They've got to find that just one final hit to take this game away. Aness landing that back air there. Gonna go right off stage, take it, and Aness keeping up with Lancelot, taking him off stage and taking that game away. We're not out of this match yet.
Yeah, Ness hitting him with that run it back. Look, we're going PS2, I think, all the way through this set. No counter picks, just pure, raw, fundamental gameplay. You know, I like to see sometimes in Dittos players who are willing to go to different stages and show where they are more comfortable. But sometimes you get situations like this where it's like, nah, we're going to the starter. It's just who's the better player through and through.
Literally that, yeah. I mean, we're gonna rock this Roy Duto until the very end. Even if we go to game 5, I doubt we're gonna switch here for both players. Let's see if Aness can keep up once again. He's shown that he can do it. He can take those games away from one of the best players in Europe and certainly one of the best Roys in Europe. But can Lancelot seal it up after a minor dip there? That's what we're about to find out, Lentini.
Yeah, this talking about, well, he's got to deal with all the counter picks from Lancelot, but realistically, I don't think there's going to be any of that, even if he loses this game. But hey, we'll see. Either way, like you said, Aness, he's got to win 2. He's got to make this comeback. You've got the momentum, that little confidence boost even, that can go such a long way, showing, hey, I took one game, I recognized, I found the patterns, and now it's just continuing to go in that direction without letting Lancelot get back ahead.
And the thing I'm finding that is the key difference between these two as well. Aness is so much more comfortable going off stage. I mean, literally in that last game, Aness quite literally just threw everything into that offstage forward air. Literally just said, if I don't hit this, then I lose the set. If I do hit this, I win the game. And since then, he's been doing it so much more, which is something that Lancelot is not comfortable doing. He's quite happy to just stay on stage and keep up that on-stage ledge pressure, while Aness really wants to dive off and take that stock away. And so far, it's kind of been paying off for Aness quite nicely.
Yeah, speaking of that off-stage game, one thing we haven't seen at all is the down B, trying to counter those telegraphed recoveries. Of course, Roy has the ability to change the angles a little bit, and he can be tricky with it. But there are certain checkmate situations, but it can be very risky, and it's very hard to space. So that may be something we see come out as a late mix-up in the set, or they could both just opt to play it safe. Ooh, that was a little spicy, sliding past the ledge, but we're still in it.
Still in it, Lancelot hanging on here again, just going to stay on that stage. And even then, with the ledge roll, Lancelot is just all over, but Aness is still holding quite firm here. Got a bit of a lead, but Lancelot has really caught up all of a sudden. Actually, just like that, we have already seen a flip of who's in control. Aness does land that side beat, though. We're going to go off stage, keeping himself on stage, though. Mixed it up what he's doing. Going to even stay on the stage there. Just not going to let sort of any kind of risk happen here, because he knows that he's in a really good position here. If he could just keep it up. But a trade there is actually going to work out in Aness's favor there, as Lancelot is actually the one that loses the stock.
When you're that close to your opponent, look, they're both trying to get those hilt strong hits. The downside is you have to fade in for a few extra frames for that spacing, which means your opponent has a bit of time to react, throw out, in that case, whether it's the up airs, the nairs, and try to contest your hitboxes.
Okay, Lancelot, let's see what you can do. He is holding a bit of a lead here, but again, it can all trade in an instant. See that down air coming out from Aness there. He wants to end it all right now. He wants to go to this game 5. The up air into the back air as well. But Lancelot is still taking control. The side B does connect, but not all of the hits. It gets the sour spot on the last one. So not going to take that stock away just yet.
He tried so hard, delaying that as much as possible, but it doesn't matter because the Jer on the platform, no amount of DI is going to save you. And Lancelot moving forward as, at least on this day, at this tournament, the superior Roy.
Literally that. I mean, showing that, hey, yeah, okay, you can take a game, you can keep up, sure. But I don't know, I'm the one on the EUP.
Look, I felt bad, you know, after those 2-0 to deaths, I had to give you a homie game.
Gotta give you something, yeah. But no, amazing stuff from Lancelot there. Again, just showing complete mastery with the Roy. Obviously, known for using Akrom as well, but I know has been like diving more into the Roy. I think even sort of potentially just switching fully now to main in the character, which would not surprise me. And Roy is just better at this point, sadly.
Yeah,